up, fam? It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another video. In this episode of Hood Tales, we're taking it to Newark, New Jersey to discuss the horrifying tragedy where a man broke into a family's home, tortured them, and slain 3 of them all over a Facebook post. Before we get into this video, welcome if you're new here to our channel. Please feel free to subscribe, click that notification bell so you never miss an upload. If you're rocking with the content, hit that like button, share this video with everyone you know. Make sure you watch until the end to hear the full story. All right, let's jump right into it. Newark, New Jersey, November 5th, 2016. Early Saturday morning, the Whitehurst family started the day with breakfast at their home on the 100 block of Hedden Terrace. Family friends were over at the house visiting. There were 9 people in total at the house that day. Of those 9 was 8-year-old Ariel Whitehurst, her big brother, 11-year-old Aljahan Whitehurst, their 29-year-old mother, her 13-year-old twin siblings, a boy and a girl, who would be Aljahan and Ariel's aunt and uncle. Ariel and Aljahan's older aunt was at the home as well with her close friend, 23-year-old Sayaja McBurrows. They both went to college at New Jersey City University and worked at Amazon together. Sayaja had dreams of becoming a teacher and working with children with special needs, and graduation was right around the corner. Sayaja was described as the nicest, kindest, most compassionate person you could ever meet. 8-year-old Ariel was a second grader who loved school and going shopping with her auntie. Aljahan, who was in the 5th grade, loved playing video games and eating his favorite foods, pancakes and honey buns. Things seemed to be shaping up to be a lovely day for the family. The house was filled with laughter and joy. But as the day continued, the joyous laughter would turn to screams of horror. Later that afternoon, police in Newark rushed to the Whitehurst home after receiving a 911 call for reports of a stabbing. When officers arrived at the scene and entered the home, they came across a scene you could only imagine seeing in slasher films. Officers found several people on the 2nd floor of the home suffering from life-threatening injuries. 5 people were rushed to University Hospital to be treated. Sadly, there was one person who was pronounced gone at the scene, 23-year-old Sayaja, who had reportedly been shot in the head once. All the other victims had been cut and slashed multiple times. Ariel and Aljahan's mother and her 13-year-old twin siblings were among the victims taken to the hospital. They survived their injuries and were recovering at the hospital. Tragically, Ariel and Aljahan did not survive the vicious attack and were both pronounced gone at the hospital at 4:40 p.m. that day. There was another family friend at the home, a young lady who was said to be autistic, who was able to escape the attack and the attacker. The young lady hid inside the closet. She then used her phone to call a family member, who then in turn called the police. There was heavy police presence at the scene, and the area was blocked off by yellow tape. There was a woman crying. Several other people also gathered near the scene, while others held hands and prayed in a circle. It was an emotional scene, and many called for an end to the violence against young people. After the brutality at the Whitehurst home, police had taken several witness statements. Authorities identified an individual of interest, 26-year-old at the time, Jeremy Arrington. He was wanted for questioning. Jeremy was a longtime friend of the family, but it's not clear how they came to know each other. Jeremy had a lengthy criminal history dating back to 2006. At the time, he was already wanted on charges for an unrelated incident that took place on October 9th, 2016. He was wanted on charges of assault after a female victim walked into Beth Israel Hospital and said she was attacked, and she was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Reports say that Jeremy and that victim were acquaintances. He was considered armed and dangerous. Residents in the surrounding areas were on high alert since the brutal slayings. On Pomona Avenue, residents recalled seeing a man that looked new to the neighborhood. They recall him walking around the neighborhood calm and wearing dreadlocks. Residents at some apartments on Pomona Avenue saw as police rushed the area late Sunday evening, the day after the slayings. Police then cornered a man later identified as Jeremy in an apartment in a 3-story brick house in the 200 block of Pomona Avenue. Residents later found out that the man they saw wearing dreadlocks was Jeremy Arrington in disguise. It was about an hour-long standoff as several law enforcement agencies swarmed the house. They were under the impression that Jeremy had taken a hostage. However, that was later found out to be false, and Jeremy Arrington was taken into custody without incident at around 9 p.m. that Sunday evening. It's not clear whose apartment Jeremy had barricaded himself inside, and a motive for the brutal attacks and slayings were still under investigation. Eventually, Jeremy was charged in connection to the vicious slayings and attack at the Whitehurst family home. Almost 6 years later, in March 2022, Jeremy Arrington went to trial. Over the course of the 10-day trial, grisly details and the motive to the heinous crime came to light. According to prosecutors, Jeremy Arrington was enraged after Ariel and Al-Jahan's mother commented on or shared a Facebook post of a police alert that named him as a suspect in an unrelated shooting and assault. Reports say Jeremy forced his way into the Whitehurst home in broad daylight with a loaded gun, tied everyone up, and tortured them with kitchen knives. The horrifying ordeal went on for over an hour. Prosecutors said Jeremy treated the home like an amusement park, cutting and slashing everyone inside, and then going throughout the unit, doing it to others before making his way back to each person and attacking them again. They described his acts as pure evil. Jeremy reportedly cut and slashed Ariel and Al-Jahan more than a dozen times and fatally wounded Syaja in the head. Jeremy and Syaja did not know each other. She was just at the family's home visiting. The prosecution called over 20 witnesses to testify, which included eyewitnesses and experts. One eyewitness testimony was profound because they were in the home when Jeremy's rampage took place. Ariel and Al-Jahan's aunt and Syaja's close friend testified in court to hearing Ariel's curdling screams from the bathroom as Jeremy carried out his attack. She also recalled seeing Syaja being shot execution style even after she begged for her life. She also spoke about how Jeremy put a gun to her mouth, threatening to take her life. She told the court Jeremy should have ended her life after what she saw because she cannot unsee it and she no longer wanted to feel that pain. During the trial, Jeremy's attorney tried to use an insanity defense. However, the judge rejected it because the defense lawyer could not find an expert to testify that Jeremy couldn't be held criminally liable for his actions due to his mental state. Jeremy did not take the stand at his trial. A jury convicted him in less than 2 hours on 28 counts. Jeremy read a short statement apologizing to the families. He described his actions to the court as craziness and uncalled for, and said he would switch places with the victims if he could. But the family and friends of the victims refused to accept his apology. Jeremy was subsequently sentenced to 3 consecutive 75-year sentences for the slayings of Ariel, Aljahan, and Syaja. The judge sentenced him to another consecutive 50-year sentences for each of the attempted murders against the surviving victims. His total sentence came up to 375 years. Under New Jersey's No Early Release Act, which mandates inmates to serve at least 85% of their prison time, Jeremy has to serve a total of 281 years before being eligible for parole. Both the Whitehurst and McBurrows shared in their grief and stuck by each other's side throughout the whole trial and vowed to stick by each other even afterwards. Emotions ran high because no amount of time can take back what happened on that fateful day. My heart goes out to the families impacted by this senseless, terrible tragedy. May Ariel, Aljahan, and Syaja continue to rest peacefully. This story is absolutely heartbreaking. My prayers are with the survivors. I can't imagine the fear and horror they all must have felt. My heart truly goes out to them. I hope that they may find peace, although they may never understand why it happened. Jeremy's anger fueled a rampage that took the lives of innocent people, children for that matter, and someone he didn't even know. The whole family suffered his wrath because he was upset about a post on Facebook the person themselves didn't even originally make. The motive as to why he did this was so uncalled for. It'll never make sense to me why he would hurt whole families and destroy their world over something so trivial. So many others could have commented and shared the police alert. It's just absolutely crazy to say the least. Fam, leave your thoughts on this in the comments below. All right, fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times, and I'm out.